Welcome to the Excelsior Health Podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals and busy parents who are battling with weight gain, high stress, and a drop of self-confidence. And what we get you guys to do on this podcast, we get you guys to prioritize strength training, healthy habits, and crafting a positive environment so you guys can transform your health and rebuild your lifestyle. All right. A big part of what we try to do on this podcast, guys, is just take the complicated aspects of fitness, the overwhelming information, and simplify it so you guys can take actionable steps towards building a better health. Today, guys, we have a special episode. We have one of our interviews. I like to call these, transformation interviews, where we deep dive into someone's personal story and just learn how did they transform their health. To give this person a little bit of a segue, I've known them for a long time, and man, I'm so proud of their personal transformation. When they came to me originally as friends, I started coaching them. They were 300 plus pounds, out of shape, not fit. But years later, through their own personal journey, this guy has absolutely transformed, where he's over 100 pounds down. And not only has he transformed his health, his physique, man, he's transformed his life, his trajectory of his family. He's a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu champion right now. He's ranked #1 in the world in his weight class. And again, the list goes on, but I think one of the coolest things is seeing how he's really transformed the trajectory of his family. His family's in Jiu Jitsu, they're living healthier, they seem happier. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu champion, Mr. Ricky Romero. Welcome to the podcast, my guy. Hey, that's enough. That's enough.
Sorry, I thought we were.
He gets sensual, this guy.
I thought we were gonna get into it right away.
My guy, I messaged you on Instagram. I said, hey, can you come through? Without a doubt, he was ready to rock and roll. So I really appreciate that. What I want you to start off with, man, is just give a little bio. Like, where are you today? What are you doing? Let the people know what's up.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to clarify that I never hit 300 pounds. It was close to hit it.
299.
It's 299 and a half, but never officially hit the 300. Which is my camera again? Which is my camera? This one? Okay.
Both.
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that the people get the truth from the lies that you've been telling about me hitting 300 pounds. 300, and I'm also 5'7", by the way. People keep telling me I'm 5'6". I measured just before I came, and it's just there, 5'7". But it is true. Everything that you've mentioned, that's where I was through a downfall of a spiral I had back in like the 2010s or so, which led me to be close to that mark. And through learning and a lot of downfalls, a lot of bumps, hits in the roads, a lot of heartbreaks and stuff, it's what's led me to be here. Yeah. So I'm excited to have this conversation. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
By the way, I do appreciate it. I was promised a lot of money to be here. Your producer kind of laughed about it earlier, but I was like, okay. And I was also made to set up the podcast. I had to carry these couches for some reason. And I was wondering if I was the first guest to do that.
It's a ritual.
Okay.
Because we want the guests to be invested into the experience.
Okay.
It's kind of what we do.
Because it would have been bad if I was the only one because of my background. But anyways, I'll let the viewers decide. Which is my camera again? Over there? Here? Okay.
Any one of the three.
All right. I just want to know.
So, Ricky, tell me, what do you do right now? Because I know you do in coaching, in jiu-jitsu, you're coaching online fitness. Give everybody a little bit of a background on who you are now. And then we're going to walk through a little bit of kind of the transformation story of how you got here.
So I have a lot of buckets or hats, as people call them in my life. I do try to throw a lot of white people phrases, as many as I can. It gets good clips on the internet. So from the first most important thing, I'm a father to 3 lovely kids, and I'm a husband to a lovely wife. She does get lippy sometimes, but hey, we're not here for that right now, right?
Different podcast.
But so my main objectives in life is to be the best version of a father and a husband for them. And then the next thing I do is also be a good son and a good brother to my siblings. From a professional standpoint, I am a health and safety professional, so I do a lot of health and safety consulting for organizations in the government and the public safety sector. So I deal a lot with like firefighters, like paramedic, police, teaching them about health and safety, disability management, and also mental health as well. On a side part of that main career I have, I'm also now a personal trainer, online personal trainer, where I'm trying to help people from all aspects of life. Some people are just trying to lose, 40 pounds. Some people are trying to get a big booty. Some people are trying to get bigger biceps. Other people just want to keep fit and, just be healthy in life. So helping them with workout programs and nutrition, as well as just fixing those habits that tend to guide you in wrong places. A part of that, I'm also a jiu-jitsu student primarily, but then I also have the privilege to be a jiu-jitsu coach under my professor, Andrew McCall. So who are we gonna fire for this? Is my question.
We got to fire Viral.
Who are we gonna fire? Because I don't have the time. I don't have the patience to be dealing with this level of unprofessionalism. So what is like? Do we just keep going and ignore it?
You just keep going.
Okay.
I'm just throwing rocks at you.
You clearly you don't care, and whatever. I hope that you address this.
Hey, don't
You're a
afterwards.
leader.
We'll
you're
take care.
you're an excellent leader. You're an even better business owner. So I am assured that you're gonna take the right decision.
You got it.
After this.
You got it.
And you will pay for this after. But anyways, I was saying, I'm a jiu-jitsu student at first at heart, and then I also have the privilege of being a jiu-jitsu coach under my professor, Andrew McCall. He allows me to coach some of his classes as well there. So I get to coach kids and I get to coach adults as well there from all ranges, all aspects of life. Some people are trying to be, the next jiu-jitsu champion, the next jiu-jitsu athlete, high-level athletes. Others are, again, just trying to be fit, trying to be there and spending time with their family and all that. And then in the small time that those activities leave me, I'm also still trying to actively pursue my very highly mediocre soccer career, which, as you know, we've played in a team together. And if the world definitely missed the next Messi, I think. And it's just a shame for the world to be honest.
You played goalie though.
Okay. First of all, there was games where I did get to play outside, and I did. You just didn't see me there because you wouldn't pass the ball. Because he doesn't pass the ball, he just runs to the net. But yes, I also played net. And it's okay. It's okay. For all those goalkeepers, don't let people put you down. It's okay to be a goalkeeper. It's okay to just be that part of the game.
You can't be Messi and be a goalkeeper. Like,
hey man, what are you trying to shut down dreams here? You just said when you started this podcast that you were promising people that they could live their dreams and pursue their aspirations.
Hey, but you gotta be real too.
And now you're shutting my goalkeeping aspirations. Which is my camera again? Is that one? Is it that one?
All right. So this is the first question.
All right.
When we go back, if I give everybody kind of like a run through of, I guess, how me and you knew each other. We have my cousin is one of Ricky's close friends, Orlando. Shout out, what's his company again?
Oz Landscaping.
Oz Landscaping. You guys need your lawn done. Boom. But this is like probably 12 years ago. This is when I was like freelance personal trainer, doing group fitness. I was just kind of getting my roots going. And, Ricky, we're cool, man. Like we hung out. He was super funny guy, as you guys can see. But he trusted me. He wanted to come into one of my classes, one of my group programs. At the time, I wasn't training for Warriors yet. I was iBeast Training and Performance. And that was my own kind of thing, my own name. But that was during the time when I was coaching Ricky. I was actually going through the books. I was going through the YouTube videos. I was getting my certification. I was going through the process. So he saw me evolve as a coach in my philosophies, my methodologies. And in the beginning, hey, like we said, he was close to 290 pounds. He was strong. Ricky was always very strong, but like he had a hard time being consistent with the lifestyle habits. And I'm sure he's going to touch into what it was. So we would see lots of fluctuations. He would be committed, then he would be off. He would see weight go down, and then he would see weight going up. And he was with us when I opened this location. He was with us probably for a couple months. And as you know, sometimes happens, close friends, great clients, you know, you get distracted with life and he kind of fell off his fitness journey. But it was really cool that I obviously got invited to his wedding. But the day of his wedding, I get like a message in the morning before the Saturday session. It's like, dude, can I come work out? And I'm like, bro, don't you have your like wedding in like a couple hours? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I just got to come work out. He came to the dojo, you know, he had a great workout. I think it was speed strength, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And later on at the wedding, he partied it up and he had an amazing wedding. But years later, like, you know, we didn't see each other as much during that time. But he came up on Instagram and social media, and I just kept seeing him in the jiu-jitsu and doing the things. And then all of a sudden I start seeing all these gold medals. And then also I look him in the pictures and this guy looks different, like his jawline, his shoulders, his chest. But then again, like I was saying, man, one of the coolest things, I see your kids involved, your wife involved, and I just see this different man who transformed. And like, it was one of the coolest things. And then, you know, he had sent me a picture of like one of the first kind of pictures that we used to do, like our IBeast with everybody wearing the logo. And he was in that picture, you know, close to the 300 pounds.
Okay. I think
And, but just to see the change, dude, it's been amazing. So I'm excited to have you here in all seriousness and just like share what the hell happened. Like, how did you go from that to being inconsistent, out of control when it came with your health to this example that we have here today? So give us a run through of the story.
I will. But just again, to clarify, I was not 300 pounds. I was below 300 pounds, never hit 300 pounds. Okay. Let's just start with that. I think the biggest turning point was, it's one phrase. Every now and then I throw it in my Instagram. And it's this phrase that goes, a lot of people say that they will die for their kids, they would die for their family. And then they ask, would you live for them? Mm-hmm. And I think once like that hit deep, my why really came out. I think all the times, dude, I've been, believe it or not, and you know, some people do stop me in the street and they ask me, it's like, dude, you clearly been in the gym for like 20 plus years. And I tell those people, get away from me, because I will call the cops. Okay? The weirdo. Who does that? But I have been working out since I was like 14, 15. I got started with a good friend of mine back home, and like he introduced me to, and I always loved fitness. I've always read up on like Men's Health, on Cosmopolitan, which has some great glute tips for the guys there if you're into it. Okay, if you don't want to read it, dude, then you missed out on growing some great glutes. Well, that's on you. But I was always into it. But what I realized, why I never saw the results, even when I was working with great people like you, is that my why was always superficial. I didn't want it that much, right? I wanted to take my shirt off and have abs and all that. That's all superficial, because when that 4 a.m. alarm goes off, if your why is not strong enough, then you're not gonna want to get up. You're be like, a lot of the reasons why you want to do this are gonna fall off. So I think the main reason was to want it that badly, because I wanted to be that best version of me. I wanted my kids to not have to look up for role models somewhere else, right? My dad, like he's my role model to be a great father, a great provider, and all that. But when it comes down to like nutrition and fitness, he was just never lived that life. My family, my close family never lived that life. So I always had to look out somewhere for that, right? Yeah. So I wanted my kids to never have to do that. I wanted their role model to always be next door, right? To always be there and answer their questions. So I never wanted to get the feeling to say to my kid, no, you know what? If you want fitness, go to this other man that's going to teach you how to do it. Like I wanted to be that, right?
But what was the point, like the breaking point that mentality switched, where you're like, you look in the mirror and you're like, dude, I gotta switch. I gotta change my life, and I need to be this example. Like, when did that happen where it gave you that why power?
Well, like, again, like, it's not the reason why I was mentioning that I was in the gym since I was 15 is because, you know, as a former, not 300 pounds, 290 pounds something person, um, nobody wants to be that big. Nobody's comfortable at that weight saying like, I'm okay, I like this life. Anybody that's saying that, and if you're at home and you are like 200 plus pounds and like you're fat and you're like, you're tired of drinking and you wake up hangover and all that, don't lie to me. Like I've been there, I've been that guy. That doesn't feel good. You don't want that. And the problem is that everybody wants that change, but nobody wants to actually do it, right? So when I would, you know, I used to drink, and I would wake up on the Saturdays or the Sundays, I would be miserable. I never wanted to do that, but because that was on a Sunday, right? Sunday, Monday, I would be the most perfect athlete. I would be like, no, I'm gonna start eating good, and I'm gonna start doing all these things. And Tuesday comes, that feeling starts getting, you know, a little bit less. Wednesday, by Thursday, you're already planning the weekend. You're already starting to think, what time we were going to meet at St. Louis and doing all those things. And it's because my why wasn't really there. So when I hit, you know, 290 pounds, when I started realizing that if I kept going through that life of drinking and eating that way, at some point, I wasn't going to be around to be that role model for my kids, right? I wasn't, and even if I were, like, could my kids really look up to me and say, like, hey, like, that's my God, that's my dad, being proud about it, right? So, like, all those things added up. And dude, like, just like you mentioned when you were giving my background there, it wasn't always like perfect. It wasn't like just the one day it clicked and like all of a sudden it's like Aladdin. Like it's all good. And I say Aladdin for my friend Hamza there, so that he can relate. But it's something that I wanted to, like, it would happen for a little bit, but then it would die down a bit. And then I would have to, you know, find a new way. And through errors and trials, I have tried by now. Every time I talk to new clients, I said, I have tried every diet there is: keto, paleo, like, you know, eating like banana skins. It's a thing. I'll tell you about it later. But, you know, through those trials and errors, like I ended up finding what worked for me, and then eventually mix it in with my true why. It's how I now managed to get here.
Got you. So, hey, one point I want to make, and we've talked about this topic a lot on the podcast because it's super important, is you have to have a why power. That's exactly what Ricky's talking about. It's this emotional, compelling reason why you're going to change. Because losing 100 pounds like Ricky did, being successful in your business, raising kids that are going to thrive, having an intimate relationship, whatever big milestone or achievement you're trying to do, you need to have some sort of why power to get you through the difficulty. So that's one connection I want you to ask yourself is, what's my why power? And your why power can be different for different goals, but you need a very clear why power that when you talk about it, hey, sometimes it gets you emotional. Sometimes maybe it gets you really passionate and excited, but sometimes it can get you, you know, teary because you just think about all the things that you went through in order to get the goal that you really want. So there's one quote, I think I heard it from Tony Robbins before. It's like, anybody can get through a difficult today if you have a compelling tomorrow. And that's what a why does. It just makes you just grind through the tough stuff of life because you know you're working towards something bigger and more powerful. Now, what I want to challenge you though is, what led to the why though, right? So it's like, did you have, because I know working with a lot of clients, sometimes there's like this emotional experience, like something happened in their life where they hit rock bottom, something happened in a relationship, they got in an accident. I don't know, there's always some sort of situation that sends somebody on a different trajectory. Was there something for you? Because the guy I see now and everything that you post on social media and just looking at you, you're very different than before. Besides the 90% sarcasm.
Hey man, first of all, I also want to have a Robbins phrase is buy one get one off, is Baskin Robbins, so it's not Tony Robbins. So Sundays I think it is, and for your birthday you get a free one. I think, I don't know. Anyways, not good if you're trying to lose weight. But back to I don't think I've had like an extreme situation where like it was like I was hanging off a cliff and dying, and that's when I said I want to change. I also have had clients that do have that story, if I can tell you, mine has been a sum of little events. I could tell you like the one time I got, and this was just like a random Tuesday or Thursday. And I remember coming home from a night out, and dude, it was like 8 a.m. and my kids were getting ready to go to school, and they didn't see me coming in, but I heard them, one of them tell my wife saying like, "Oh, was Dad like out again?" And like it wasn't done in a bad tone. It was just like, this is like, but and I like in the back of my head that hit like, oh man, like that's what they're thinking of me,
Their perception of
right?
you.
So and I that felt bad. That didn't feel good at all, and that was just like really didn't want that to be my thing. And through drinking as well, like there was always times where I would wake up the next day and then would go on like a 3-4 hour rampage of just having to apologize to people, of like just being like, dude, like I'm so sorry, that was not me, like, you know, it's just talking like garbage or something like that, right? Nothing major, nothing big, thankfully, but still, like that didn't feel good anymore because I didn't want the people that I loved, right, my friends that I love, to have a bad time because of me either, right? So it was a sum of those little things. And then also, when I started jiu-jitsu, I also knew, once I got into it and I knew I wanted to compete, there's a level that you have to be at for you to be the best. You have a great phrase here that says, champions do daily what everybody else does occasionally. So I remember when I first started competing and, you know, I started seeing success here and there and all that, but I knew like I wasn't hitting the levels of like the guys that were really, really good at the gym. And so I sat down, I asked one of the guys, I'm like, you know, I'm like, I train like 3-4 times a week. I'm like, how often are you training? And he was like, oh, I train like 10-12 times on like an easy day. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, obviously that's the thing.
There's levels to it.
And I sat down and I said, okay, like, what do you want? Do you want to be mediocre at it, or do you want to take this seriously? And that was it. So like it was, once I had the sum of these things, and once I reverse engineer the person I wanted to be. When I say reverse engineer, I talk about to my clients, is like, you know, one thing is saying like I want to be fit, but when you actually break down the goals, it's kind of like saying I want to save $120,000 in 10 years, right? That's a big, gigantic goal. But if you break it down per year, you know, we're only talking about how much, Hamza? You're in accounting?
10,000, I think.
12,000.
12,000.
Anyways, so like if you break it down, now you have a yearly goal, right? Now it's 12,000. Doesn't look so bad as if it was 120,000.
Yeah.
If you want to go even deeper into it, now you can break it down monthly. What's 12,000 in 12 months? It's $1,000, right? And if you want to break it down deeper, you can go by week. You can go by day. So rather than saying I want to lose 100 pounds, and you can break it down to like the first 10, the first 5, and focus on that. It makes it easier in your head. So when I reversed engineer all the things I wanted to be, not just as an athlete, not just as a coach, not just as a student primarily, but also as a father, as a husband, as a friend, it was very easy for me to say, okay, if I want to be all that, this is the things that I have to do. But more importantly, these are the things that I cannot do anymore. Right?
I want to unpack that for a second, because I think that's a really important point. Is when you want to transform your health or your life, one of the things that have to change and you have to be clear on is what's the identity you want. And that's exactly what Ricky just said. He's like, I want to be a friggin' champion. I want to be elite. I don't want to be mediocre. But then you also said, hey, I want to be a great father, right? I want to be healthy. So it's like he first started on the identity, then he got specific on what the goals would be. And then, like he said, he reverse engineered it to what would be these goals on more of a shorter time frame, and what are the habits that I have to do, and what's the shit that I got to cut out and stop doing, because sometimes it's the things that if we change these, if we cut out certain things, that's what opens up the room for growth. And that's what a lot of our clients and even my own personal journey, that's what holds us back. It's the constant things that we keep doing that we know we need to stop doing.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And like for me, like once I had the clear list of things that I couldn't do, like it was just very easy. Like for alcohol, for example, like it's gonna be at the end of this year, it's gonna be like I think 3.5 years that I haven't touched like one ounce of alcohol.
And for viewers' sake that don't know you personally, how often would you used to drink before?
Oh, brother, like it was great. This is great. It was fantastic. No, I would drink a lot, like and like every weekend and throughout the week. I probably like it was very easy to down a 2-4. I mean, if you've been to our parties, you know, like we would hit 2-4s. Everybody, our friends would bring a 2-4s, and we would have a great time. It was the best. But it comes with its consequences, right? If you want to do that, if you want the party life, I promise you that Cristiano Ronaldo is not drinking every night after he finishes a soccer game. He's not drinking in the locker room. He's not doing anything like that, right? And so I knew that if I wanted to perform at the level that I need to perform for my age, for my division, I needed to cut those things out.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with sacrifices because it's very easy to see it, for the dozens of viewers that you have here. You can see that it might sound easy to say, hey, you need to cut this down. Dude, it comes with sacrifices, right? If I want to train at the level that I train, and I want to be a good father, a good husband, more importantly, a good friend, there's only so much limited time that you're working with, right? So I've had to not see a lot of people. I had to not see a lot of good friends. It's not because I don't love them. It was like, I mean, if you're watching this and I haven't seen you in a while, I do love you. I do consider you a great friend. But this is priority number one, right? And my priority number one was to get these things. And dude, there's family members. The other day, I met my cousin's kid who was born. She lives maybe like 10, 15 minutes away from me. Her daughter was born 2 years ago, and I just met her on Saturday, right?
Is your cousin?
My cousin,
Yeah.
right? And most of you guys are probably gonna think in watching this saying like that guy is like a douchebag. Like, why would you not go see that? I have to train. I have to train. I'm either traveling for competitions or I'm coaching. And if I'm not, and if I'm home, I'm just spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that I don't want to be there. I wish we had 32 hours in the day, but we don't. But those are the sacrifices that you have to make for when you're chasing that, right? And when I knew that that's what I wanted, I knew the things that I have to cut out or things that I have to sacrifice. Then it becomes easy as you go. And like I said just a bit earlier, it's not you make that list and all of a sudden your life changes. Comes with a little bit, like it's gonna get harder a little bit. You might come back one step, but then 2 steps forward, that type of mentality. But it has its sacrifices. I'm thankful enough that I have a good community with my wife, my family, that they all understand and support it. But I do definitely miss my friends, man. I do definitely miss just being with people ask me like, oh, like, do you miss drinking? Like, heck yeah, like I miss it. I miss having time with my friends, right? It's just very hard to not to do that and then be able to perform the next day in training, right? I can't do that. Just like I can't do many things but no true athletes in the NFL, in the NBA are not getting at least 7-8 hours of sleep, right? If you're sacrificing your sleep because you're out partying or you're out doing something like that, then you're not going to perform.
Nope.
So if you are not willing to sacrifice your sleep, then you're going to sacrifice your performance. And that's it. Something's got to give, right?
And that's an important point that I want to hit home on is, not everyone's going to be a championship athlete like Ricky, but you can adopt the championship mentality of, hey, you want to be a champion in your life, right? You want to be as fit as you want to be as a busy professional and a busy parent. But ask yourself that question for a second is, if I have this big goal, what am I willing to sacrifice? That's very important. And what Ricky just said is like, yeah, he had to sacrifice relationships, time, and that's hard. Are you willing to say no to a boys' night or to girls' night? Are you willing to say no to spending money on certain things that are taking away from your big goals? there's a sacrifice, but I also look at it as more as like, man, you made an investment into yourself, into your future self. So you can call it sacrifice, you can call it investment, but there's some things you're going to have to put more of your attention to get the result that you want. And I would also argue too, and you maybe correct me if I'm wrong, yes, you spent less time with some people, but as you've gone through this transformation process, how much more positive relationships have you also attracted in your life now?
Oh, 100%. And there's always that saying, and I remember when training with you, you always talked about, being like taking care of your circle and filtering out who you want to be. That saying, I know it's old, but like it is true. If you hang out with four millionaires, you'll be the fifth. If you hang out with four smokers, you'll be the fifth, right? I do believe that in that now, but it all depends in your objectives. Like, it doesn't have to be that you necessarily cut people from your life, because they might have other objectives. Because even though they might not be in the gym with you, they might not be in the mats with you or anything like that. They might just still give you support through messages, through an Instagram like or a DM or something like that. But again, your objectives have to be aligned with the people that you're hanging out with, right? If you're gonna be and trying to get into real estate, makes sense that you're gonna be hanging out with a bunch of real estate people to just gain knowledge and understand all of this. If you're gonna be a jiu-jitsu student, jiu-jitsu athlete, or coach, then you're gonna hang out with jiu-jitsu people more, right? So it all depends on that. Now, if you want to be the best soccer player in the world, but you spend 75% of your time playing cricket, again for Hamza, the reason I reference, then that just the math doesn't add up, right? Like, because you're spending more time somewhere where you don't need to be, right? So naturally, that the filters go into play, and your circle gets more attached to what you really want. But you can't have your cake and eat it. Like, you have to make sure, like, again, with sacrifices, okay, where do I want to be? Put yourself in those situations where, like, okay, if I really want this, then I need to be hanging around more of these people and make it make sense, however that is. And then naturally, you start talking. Like, my environment went from being like 80-90% more conversations about drinking and all that stuff. It naturally shifted to like, okay, like, how do we optimize our body? How do we optimize our nutrition? What's the best way to drill for jiu-jitsu? What's the best way to lift for jiu-jitsu? Again, I want to be clear. It's not that I think like you should cut off people or that, but you should be very aware of how much time you're spending in each of those buckets, right? Like, 100%. Depending on where you want to be. Because again, some people they just want to be healthy enough. Right at that point, you want to just balance your relationships and see where you are. But if you want to perform and be that person, then naturally you should be able to.
It's like the higher the results that you're going for, whether it's business, fitness, sport, the more unbalanced you're going to be.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You're going to have to put just more focus, because the people that you're competing with, the result you're trying to get, it just requires that much more of you.
That's just natural it. And like, we see it on athletes, high performance athletes, every time on the NFL, NBA, soccer, whatever you watch. So why would you not expect that from yourself, right? Like, if you want to be that person, then why wouldn't you do that for yourself? If you want to be the best in your career, why do you think that just doing the minimum of your work is enough?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you want that high paying end job, like if you want that promotion, do you think they're gonna give it to you just by doing what's minimum? That you're not gonna get that. If you want to be the best husband, do you think that just by taking your girl out on their anniversary, that makes you the best husband? Like, that's minimum things that you have to do just to be a decent human.
Yeah.
But you got to go above and beyond. Same thing with the kids. And if you put when I was talking about reverse engineering, like, I have all these buckets, right? Like, what makes a great father, right? It's not just being there, like, because being there, sure, you can be just like a statue and just stay there and not want to play with them and stuff. But it's about like giving them education, giving them experiences, giving them life lessons, making sure they're well taken care of, and that all takes time, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of things that you have to do. What it is to be a great son, like how many times you see your parents, how many times you're taking them out from vacations and things like that. What it's good to be a good student, whether it's for jiu-jitsu or whether it's for you have a personal trainer here. Am I coachable, right? Am I just doing the 20 burpees? Or am I maybe doing that 20-second one, right? Like, am I just doing the push-ups, waiting until my coach doesn't see me, and then just, kind of half-assing it? Because I always tell people, like, you're lying to yourself, not lying to me.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm going to get through this workout, but if you want to be the best, you can't just do what's minimum,
No.
right? Like, you got to
do more than expected.
Exactly, right? So that's ultimately where I land with that.
For you, what was the catalyst? Was it I joined jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu sent me to be a championship athlete and I changed my health, or was it you were changing your health and then you went into jiu-jitsu?
I think it would be a good mix of both. In jiu-jitsu, there is this cliche line that you say jiu-jitsu changed my life or jiu-jitsu saved my life. And I know the jiu-jitsu guys that are going to watch this are going to hate me for saying it, but jiu-jitsu did save
I see it, man. Like that's when I look at you. That's what I saw first is you went into jiu-jitsu and then all these other things started to pick up from that.
Yeah. It started from it, but it was a sum of things. Like for me, training for warriors also saved my life. A lot of the things that you taught me when you were my coach is things that I still to this day put in play, right? Starting from the warm-ups. A lot of the times when I'm getting ready for my first fights in competitions, I'm doing your warm-ups because they were like in one play, like in one area. I don't have the room to run around in the area where we have to wait. So I have to do stationary warm-ups. And a lot of the warm-ups that I do are the ones you'll see me doing the crisscross and all that stuff. And then the last set, best set mentality, right? I put that in play a lot of the times, right? When I'm tired and I don't want to do the last round, and I always put, no, last set, best set, right? Those type of things. So it's been a sum of all these learning experiences, like all the things that I've been getting. And then ultimately when I landed in jiu-jitsu, I have great mentors like my professor, Andrew, that his mentality has always kept us out of the mediocrity, right? When I went there, I thought that winning a local tournament
was enough.
Was like, I'm good. And he was always the one saying to us, like, no, like, don't put yourself like at that level. Like, put more expectations of yourself. And that's why he said, like, go to the international tournaments, go and try and fight this. And like, you can get there. You're getting all this training, you're getting all this stuff, you can do it if you put yourself down to do it. And I've always big him up on that because, again, my mentality was just like, win a local tournament, like you're good, you're golden, you're good at jiu-jitsu, be mediocre, right? His mentality was, and just like coaches like you, was always like, no, you can be elite, right? And then once the sum of all those things occur, then it just became easier for me to put all those things together. And then once the partying stops and that filter that came through the reverse engineering of who I wanted to be, then it was just like simple. Like it was just, okay, now I have everything in place. Now I just have to put my time into it.
This is the most serious I've had Ricky speak. And I think all of our years of friendship, that's the longest I've seen you be serious. That's how I know he's passionate right now.
Well, no, dude, it's true because here's the thing. Watching both of us sitting here right now, it's not just a big moment for me, because like where I was, like thinking like that I would get interviewed in the future about health and fitness, and it's like, what are you talking about, dude? I just want to fit into my size 40 pants. But it's truly a show that I'm here to show it for the average Joe sitting at home, right? When I saw you at the beginning, right? Like you've always been like fit, you came from a football background and all that stuff, right? I've never had that. I was always just like average, even though like people at home are looking at this and they're saying like, wow, that's a statue of a man. Like
It's a specimen.
like he is what I want to be, right? And I don't blame you. I tell
Every small Latino guy's thinking that right now.
yeah. It's all these mommy mamacitas. Anyways, hi to my wife, love her. But I didn't have somebody that was in my shoes that did it, right? Like I didn't have somebody that went through all the crap that I went through.
That like you knew kind of like that was close in proximity.
Yeah, that did it. That I could say, okay, like it can be done.
Yeah.
Right. So like when I opened up my Instagrams first, like when I changed it from El Gordito Ricky to El Coach Ricky, that was the vision. I wanted to help. And it's still my vision. Number one is that I want to be that person for, I don't care if I get hundreds of millions of followers, be nice, get more money than being here in this podcast apparently. But it's if I can help that one person, do you know you're a coach when you get that text message or that person coming to you and saying, dude, you changed my life. Like I'm eating better because of you, or I'm sleeping better because of you, or like I've lost 20 pounds. Like my wife says that I'm performing better. Not Hamza. He's tried and it doesn't work. But like when you get those messages, it's like, dude, like
It's addicting.
yeah, like I love it. Like there's that passion. It's been there, and like it's not gonna die down. But I just want to be that person. I just want to show like if a person that looks like this, like it's in their like late 30s, that is 5'7", for real 5'7",
5'6", like
can get it done, right? Can change their life around. Like never mind the jiu-jitsu, never mind that stuff. Like, but if you can just lose that weight and then be a good father, or like just be a good husband, dude, you can do it too. And all it takes is for you to realize what's your why. And then once you realize what's your why, start filtering out what you can and what you cannot do, and then just start working from there.
And then that's exactly what so our program Training for Warriors, that's what the philosophy is helping people transform their health so they can bring out that warrior within. So, warrior within just basically means living life to your full potential. And that's what you just described is like, man, I'm being the father that I should be. I'm being the husband. I'm pursuing my career. I'm picking up these other skills in my life. Now, the reason I made the podcast is similarly, it's a way to help people that they're not necessarily my clients, but they can watch this podcast and us have a conversation, and they can put tactics right into play. So this podcast, the main thing that we talk about is these 5 pillars. So this is kind of like a philosophy that I've learned over the years, and I've kind of made it my own. It's called 5 Pillars of Excelsior Health, right? So to me, Excelsior means there's no such thing as perfection, but we can strive every single day to chase excellence. And, we can chase the perfection. We're not going to get it, but just if we can land on excellence, we're going to see improvements in our life. So what I'd love you to do is put on like the Coach Ricky hat, use your own experiences that helped you, lose the 100 pounds, become the championship athlete, but also, the things that you're using now to help your clients, but use it in the frame of these 5 pillars. So give us like one tactical tip in each category. So to start out, pillar number 1 is training and movement. So what would one tip in that department that you'd love to share with everybody?
I would say for training and movement, it's I'm going to summarize it by saying, find out what works for you and be consistent at it. When I say what works for you, it's because if you are a late 30s, late 40s person and you're trying to lose 10 pounds, your workouts shouldn't really be the same as like a 60-year-old boxer that is just, the only worry that they have is waking up and whether they're going to have Reese's Puffs for cereal or like anything like that, right? Like it's just not the same. You're at a different stages of life. So my biggest pet peeve from online personal trainers or any personal trainers is when they expect the person to be working out, like every person to be working out twice a day, 7 days a week and just like for 2-3 hours, when the reality is, if you're a busy parent, busy professional, if you get 3-4 hours a week to do training, like that's a lot of time, right? So find out what works for you. And the reason why I say be consistent at it is because once you find out what works for you and you like it, then you're more likely to stay consistent with it. You're not gonna be missing stuff and all that. Like, not everybody likes boxing workouts, right? So they're more likely to get up at 4 a.m. and say, no, it doesn't work for me. So I would say find out what works for you. And once you find out what that works, like, and don't fall for the Instagram heavy workouts type of things. Like, if you're a mid 40s guy, you shouldn't be like doing those high jumps from like buildings and yelling parkour all the time. Like, that, dude, like, stop it. Be an adult. Okay. Like, find out what works for you, dude. And it's all the basics, right? Like squats, like deadlifts, like all these bench presses, things like, you don't need anything else. I tell my clients all the time, the only reason why I change your personal programs, it's because you are human and you get bored of doing the same thing.
Yep, exactly.
But there's really no reason why you should change your workout program every month or every like 3 weeks or anything like that. If you do the same program, you're gonna get the same results.
The key is get stronger.
Yeah, you're just lifting weights and all that. But humans do need some type of change sometimes to be motivated. But find out what works for you, and then stick to it. Be consistent at it.
Okay. And then now, so pillar number 2 is nutrition habits. That's one of the biggest keys to losing body fat. Even your energy levels. Whether you're the busy professional trying to lose a substantial amount of weight, or you're trying to be a championship athlete, what are some maybe tips in that department?
Yeah. So for nutrition, after really having tried all the diets possible here and there, I have one phrase that I use with clients, is that there are no evil foods. There's only evil quantities of food, right? When people, especially in the Latin world, that we eat a lot of rice, and one of the first things when people with that background, they come and ask me is like, oh, do I have to stop eating rice? I say, well, go ask the Asian community how much rice they eat. They don't have to lose. Like, they're not worried about that. Like, they're worried about how much rice you're eating. So I get Europeans sometimes talking to me about pasta and all that. I'm like, go to Italy. See how most people there are not fat or anything. They're eating pasta. They're eating pasta every day. What happens is that we tend to overeat, right? Even if you have a sausage and egg sandwich from McDonald's every morning, that's only 300 and something calories, right? It's good for most people. But what happens with it is that typically you go with like 2 hash browns, and then you get the large iced coffee. So now what a healthy breakfast would have been of 300 and something calories now turns into 1,200 calories. And then now they get into the office, somebody brought Timbits, and they see, oh, Timbits. Each Timbit is 60 calories. Now they have 4. Right? Now they added into their day another 240 calories. Now before lunch, they're already at like 1,500 calories. And then they're coming here and blaming either me or you and saying like, hey, I'm not losing weight. What's going on? Right? Like, they're severely underestimating their input. The best piece of advice, I say, and actually one guy from the internet, I can't remember his name, looks like you, but he says, if you ain't tracking, you're slacking. And the best thing that could get you to do, guys, is start tracking your calories. For 2 reasons. Most of you are probably drivers, and like, if you get into a car, if I take that gas gauge thing out of there, most of you would be running out of gas on the highways and the streets, regardless of your experience, because we use that every time to measure where we are, right? So we need the same for our bodies. We need to know how much are we putting, especially if you're trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to know how much you're eating. Because some of you, and you can testify to this, some of you break your diets because you think you're eating enough, but then you're not eating enough. So then you get super hungry, and then you're like, screw this, I'm just going to pig out, right? So track it, because some days you might have that extra 400, 500 calorie allowance and you're like, hey, I can have this and not feel hungry, right? So start tracking your calories. There is no pill. Unfortunately, I would have taken it already. There is no magic workout. The only thing that's going to get you to lose weight is being in a caloric deficit. And the only way that you can quantify that, it's by calorie tracking. So that
Love
would
it,
be
man.
my advice.
Hey, that was amazingly said. Hey, it's 4:09. How are you on time?
Good. Let's finish the pillars and
Okay.
then we're good.
So, training, nutrition, that was very well said in terms of calories. One of the most important things in managing your weight, especially. Recovery, right? Rest and recovery is a huge aspect, that it's the cheapest way that people can improve their health, by getting stronger, by building muscle, having more energy to train, to
Yep.
practice. What would be some tips in that department?
Stick to the basics. I get people asking me all the time, especially first time clients. They're talking to me about, hey, what do you think about cold plunges and all these things? And I ask them, okay, like, how much are you sleeping a day? And they're like, oh, 4 or 5 hours. And it's just like, dude, like, stop it. Like, you like start tracking your sleep. Nothing can beat sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can beat eating properly, because eating's gonna help you get well. As we age and we get past our 30s, start hitting our 40s and stuff, there are supplements that you will help you a little bit more. But supplements, it's in the word. It's supplementing what you need to be doing already. So collagen for like the ligaments and all that stuff, that's all fantastic. Like getting a multivitamin out of basics, creatine, there's a lot of research for that. You can have all the best things, but if you're not taking care of your sleep, if you're not taking care of your mental health, which is important as well, then you're not going to see results in any of those things. So track the basics. Like, believe me, if you for 12 weeks, just 12 weeks, just make sure that you get at least 6-7 hours sleep at night, then believe me, that alone is just going to get you like if you were in the best supplements in the world. Once you track the basics, then you can talk to your coach about supplements and all that stuff that you see athletes do. Like those athletes, believe me, they're sleeping like they're in college,
More than
like
that.
9-10 hours a night. That's why they perform the way they do. They're not there performing just because they have an Instagram post saying like, oh, look at this supplement I take. No, they're being paid to do that. They're sleeping, they're recovering the way that you're doing this. Especially if you're, again, hitting your 40s, you need to make sure that you're actually doing all these things.
A big thing that you mentioned, mental health,
Yeah.
right? That's a big aspect of what we talk about here and what we're coaching people to better manage, to overcome. The fourth pillar of Excelsior Health to me is building a resilient mindset,
Yeah.
right? To me, through all the years of coaching people, this is the thing, is we could tell you how to sleep, we can tell you how to train, we can give you the nutrition, but if you're not working on your ability to manage stress and your perception of the world and all the problems and challenges, you're not going to be living to your full potential.
Yeah.
So what would be maybe some big tips for building a resilient mindset when you're on this journey?
I would say, so I'm huge on mental health. Like I deal with a lot with firefighters, police, paramedics that see traumatic events on a daily basis. The random person, average person, is not, maybe if they experience that 1 or 2 traumatic events in their life, it's like a big thing. For them, every time they go on shift, it's bound to happen. So the amount of beat downs they get, if we call it that, it's a lot, right? These events happen a lot to them. So I work with them, and I always tell them when I'm training them, it's like mental health is it's your ability to, or your coping mechanisms to deal with these type of stressors. So how you deal with that, it's when you're in the 410, I always tell them in the training is I always see 2 type of people. One of them is speeding, trying to change lanes, flipping birds and yelling at people because they're late and they're rushing. And I always see the other type of person that it's chilling there. They're having their coffee. They're singing to Shania Twain or Sabrina Carpenter. And they're loving life. They're maybe listening to an audio podcast. Same situation. one of them has a better coping mechanism. Maybe they left half hour early, right? So it's your ability to deal with those things. It's not the absence of stressors that help you have proper mental health. It will be very naive of you to think that your life is going to be so perfect that you'll never experience this stress ever again. It's how you deal with it. For people like me, I deal with it by working out in jiu-jitsu, by having a good community around me that supports me, and that I can have friends and people to talk to and say, hey, I've had a rough day. I want to bounce off ideas off of you and all that. You need to establish what that is for you. Who's your community? How you're going to deal with those stressors. For some people, maybe they do it by watching movies. Maybe they do it by reading books or, doing like, I don't know, whatever activity it is. You got to have good coping mechanisms. What you don't want to turn into is like bad coping mechanisms, because the same people that I train with in public safety, sometimes they turn into bad habits by dealing with stress with drinking or smoking or binge eating and things like that, right? Like a lot of
I think that's busy professionals themselves.
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
It's food, it's this, that's the coping mechanism.
Exactly. But the problem is that it's not talked about, because if you open up, they feel there's that stigma attached to mental health, right? And I always talk about it, is that they feel they're going to be judged, even though the statistics say that 3 in 1 persons in Canada are going to deal with mental health issues, right? And there's 4 of us here, so not it. It's between you guys now. And you guys are going to have depression or something. But anyways, like it's real. It happens, dude. Like everybody, like I've personally dealt with like anxiety. I've personally dealt with depression, and I had to battle all that and find how am I going to do this, right? And the what's funny is that when you talk to people, they actually do want to talk to you about it, and they do want to be helpful to you. It's really rare that you find people that say no, like, don't talk about that or anything like that. Maybe back in the day, sure, that was a thing, especially in that industry, but not anymore. Like people are thinking mental health is more out there, more people talk about it more. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Reach out to people. If you even want to talk about it, you don't know how to reach out to Cory, reach out to myself. Don't reach out to Hansa, but like do reach out to get the help that you need. If you don't have like your body, like what you're seeing on camera, like this Greek athlete body, does not operate if my mind does not operate well, right? Like if I'm not mentally good there, then there's nothing that's gonna, like you could be attempting to squat however you can, but if mentally you're not there, it's just not happening, right? Like you got to make sure that you put things in place, that you have good mental health and a good community to support it as well. For us, like I was saying, like jiu-jitsu plays a big role. You guys here, like you're warriors, it's like training and
walking
and the people around you, right? Like they're supporting you here. Like you guys have an amazing setup, because when you're lifting, like it's not just you lifting, it's you can feel the community lifting behind you, right? And that gives you that extra power, right? Like that extra thing. Like when we're having tough rolls and all of a sudden you hear your coach being like, come on, man, you can do it. It just gives you that extra power, that extra ability, right? So like having that, like that ability to do that. And then, dude, I always tell people, like once you finish a hurricane training here, dude, what could be harder the rest of the day, right? Once you go and try to fight like 5 guys like Hamza, like what could be worse than that through the day, right? Like even when I tell kids, sometimes our kids come to training and they just starting their journey in jiu-jitsu and they're so shy and all that. I'm like, dude, like get them in jiu-jitsu, because if they know that they can go into a room and know that they can beat up anybody in that room, their public speaking, their shyness, like, dude, they're just so confident, right? Like they're like now putting their chest up and stuff, getting like I gotta smack them every now and then. Like,
but I want to hit home on a point that you're saying there. Is I was listening to this actually a couple of days ago. It's called stress paradox. So like what Ricky's saying is like, hey, stress, like confrontation, lifting weights, public speaking, going on jiu-jitsu. These are acute stresses that they make you grow as a person and they make you more resilient. Other stresses like drinking alcohol, eating bad food, being alone, not speaking about your feelings, these things build up over time and they become chronic stress. So the point is to build a resilient mindset, you should intentionally do hard things often because you grow and you become harder from the experience. But then it's the chronic stress is these negative things. Those are the things that you got to eliminate and minimize to be able to be just more resilient, right? So last pillar, you kind of touched on it a little bit about community and the people you spend time with. We call it positive environment.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to positive environment, like main kind of elements, you know, we believe in spending time in nature, having mentors. It's the quality of the relationships in your life, and it's like your routines and your rituals. So anything in those categories, you know, that you would want to end off with as a tip to create more of a positive environment.
Yeah, it's again like once you reverse engineer the person that you want to be, it's very easy to say the person that I want to be has these habits, right? And it's very easy. It's almost like a video game, to be honest, because then you can say, where does this person hang out? Who does this person hang out with? Right? What's the type of culture? What's the type of vibe they're in and all that, right? The person that I want to be, the person that I ultimately want to be, it's not hanging out at clubs at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., drinking, anything like that, right? So from that perspective, it was very easy for me to remove myself from those situations, right? The type of role model that I want to be for not just my kids, for my family, but for the students I coach, knows that I have to hang around and be like a role model, like from the good habits. I like, making sure that I do everything that I tell my people to do. So I think when you see it that way, you gotta then just start filtering out those things that you're not supposed to be doing. Are you supposed to be having McDonald's for lunch every day? Maybe not. I mean, what the type of person that you want to be, that wants to lose 20 pounds, would be having McDonald's every day? Probably not. So then once you understand who you want to be, you reverse engineer the bad habits out of it. And when you have that people too that maybe are not good, and you know what? I want to make this clear too. Sometimes that happens with friends. Sometimes even worse because it happens with family, right? And thankfully I have all my family is very supportive, but I have worked with various clients where their own mother or their own father,
Husband, wife.
like it's so hard for them to change because they have been brought up and they're being told not to. When I get on a new client, what I do actually, and it's that I offer to train their spouse for free. Because if they're trying to lose weight, but their spouse it's waiting for Friday to get that pizza, to go to McDonald's or do all these things, it's so hard for them. If they're trying to change a habit and become this person that their partner is not aligned with, then it's just not going to happen. So when you talk about positive environment, don't think about just your friends, don't think about work, think about it could be happening in your own household. So everybody has to be in that same mentality. You talk about my kids, my family, we're all in sync, but dude, like your family's all in sync. Like your family too, like everybody has seen them train. Like all those kids have more abs than I haven't seen in adults in years, dude. Like you guys are living it. You guys are going with it, right? You cannot just put on the health and fitness hat for an hour and then expect the rest of you to be just a random person. You got to live it, right? And the part of it comes with positive environment, positive people around you that talk about it, even when you're not training. Hey, dude, like, I watched this podcast video, like, right? For you at home that's watching this, right? All like 63 of you, think about.
Come on, we get in the hundreds on some of these views.
Think about your producer's not even like watching it, but like think about this. I want you to filter out the last conversations that you had with your top 5 friends, right? And write down the actual topics that you talked about with them, and then that should give you a good description of what your life is really focused on, right? Because if you're saying to yourself every night, like, I want to be successful, I want to get rich, I want to be fit and all that, but all you're sharing in Instagram or WhatsApp is like this big booty Latina reels, like Hamza does, then dude, I'm sorry, but all you're gonna be getting is a slap from your wife because
I thought you were gonna say big booty Latina.
doesn't work like
Still
that.
not gonna get that.
You think Hamza's gonna get that, bro? He's gonna get nothing. But yeah. So do that exercise if you're really about it, and then figure out and talk to your boys. Maybe your boys want to do that. Maybe your boys are like, hey, dude, maybe it's time we stop putting hundreds of dollars at the bar. How about we sign up for a workshop or a conference to go build that business that we've been talking about forever, right? Like, how about you actually go put something and be about it if you really want to be? So I think that's
Hey, love it, man. Listen, I appreciate your time today, bro. I mean, you came here. I know you got to run to coach jiu-jitsu. Obviously, you got 3 kids waiting at home. Before we wrap up, I just want to tell you, hey, man to man, super, super proud of you, dude. Like, to know where you came from and to see all the things you're doing. Number one, just how you've transformed. But then, like, literally almost every month, I feel like I'm seeing you hold up a gold medal and just kill it out there. It's super inspiring because it shows me that, hey, we have the ability as coaches to like just say the right sentence, have the right session. It can literally send someone on a different trajectory. But I think the thing that I'm most proud of you is not to be the championship athlete and not how fit you are. It's like the father and the husband, and seeing your kids into this and your wife on a whole different trajectory. Like that's all from you, man. You know, and,
Thanks, dude.
the expression that we call it here is like, we get people to transform from like whiners to winners, from worriers to warriors, and then like feeling like I'm just somebody to like I'm that buddy. I'm the one. I'm the person in my family that I changed the trajectory, and that's what you've done, man. So super proud of you, dude.
Listen, I wanna give you the props that you deserve to, because you are part of my journey as well. As a coach, as you know, we're friends and all that, but like I look at you as a coach, as a forever coach. There's certain people in my life that are parts of my chapter, like the pillars of my chapter. Like you were a part of my life that also helped me build this, right? I already told you, there's a lot of things that I do on an everyday basis that come back to what you have taught me, right? Starting from like how you even operated like your business and all that, how you opened up. Like everybody has seen the picture of what this looked like before, right? Like I was like with you, like looking for places and stuff like that. And for me, that's fantastic. But I know that without you having impacted my life, I wouldn't be where I am right now. There's a lot of people in my life like that, like my jiu-jitsu professor, Andrew. He's also impacted me in that way. But from you, like a sincere thank you, because for giving me the opportunity to not just come talk to you, but for believing in me at that time and sticking around with me, because I know that it's all jokes and games, but when you're trying to give those motivational speeches and I am like, oh, suck it, Cory. Like it was hard. I know it's easy. And so I really want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for believing in me and helping me change. Because I wasn't heading down in a good way. It was going to be fun, but I wasn't going to be around for a long time. But thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Man. Hey, I look forward to more championship accomplishments and you saving more lives. Hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. This was a ton of knowledge bombs and warrior wisdom. Do us a favor. If there's someone who's a busy professional, busy parent, that they're looking for their transformation, share it. If it's someone who's like, they're pursuing being the best in their sport and they're looking for those nuggets of knowledge to help take them to the next level, share it, right? You guys can follow Ricky. What's the Instagram?
Coach Ricky, ELCOACH Ricky. You should know how to spell my name by now.
Thank you guys so much. Coach Cory signing out. Beasting.
Can I do that or? Wait, is this a gang sign, Hamza? This? No, let me not do that. Let me do peace.